in law number 6, the law of environment, where it just says growth thrives on conducive surroundings. So we are in this quest of personal growth. That's why we are here. We want to be persons of value who values others, who adds value to others. That's our goal. That's why we want to invest in ourselves. We want to start with ourselves. We want to grow because we cannot give what we do not have. But growth can only happen if our environment is conducive for growth. Okay? So that's our topic for tonight. It is important that our environment is supportive and conducive for the growth that we desire. All right. So we're going to start now. And again, we have made this easier for you because your workbook, the answers in your workbook are all underlined in our presentation. So we will start with time for a change. Okay. Um, the first step toward success is taken when you refuse to be a captive of the environment in which you first find yourself. Um, we know that your environment shapes you. We are shaped by our environment. In fact, many people have been victims of their environment. Say, for example, in the case of poverty, okay, where people are in a place where the environment is not conducive for growth, for getting out of poverty. That's why the the debate whether poverty, those who remain poor are victims or it's by choice. Maybe you have heard about that, whether, yes, you may have been born in that situation, but you have chosen to stay in that situation. That's why it's very important that we know our environment and that we refuse to be a captive of the environment in which we find ourselves. For example, you find yourself in an environment where growth, personal growth, is not supported or it's not conducive. So, are you going to stay in that environment, or you will decide to move to another environment where your passion or where your desire to grow will thrive? So this is about our environment, because when we are in an environment that is not conducive for growth, it's very difficult, it's very hard to grow. That is why, to grow to our full potential, we have to be in the right environment. Now, let me ask you this at the outset of our discussion. Are you growing? Is your environment conducive or supportive of growth? Because this is what our topic is all about. Now, of course, growth happens when there is change. Because when we stay where we are, doing the same thing and expecting a different result, that's not going to happen. That's why when people are resistant to change, they are also resistant to growth. So it's very important to have the proper attitude towards change, because when there are changes, for example, when you are um, proposing some changes, normally there will be opposition, there will be resistance. Now, that's normal. That's a normal response to change, because some people may have gotten used to doing the same things over and over again, and they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to learn anymore. They don't want to be retooled. So they don't change. That's why it's possible to change without growing, but it's impossible to grow without changing. Okay. So when we grow, change happens. So change depends on our choices, whether we stay where we are, doing the same things, or we choose to change, we choose to grow. So this is a very important point. Now, we also have to differentiate between life's facts and life's problems. So, what's the difference between life's facts and life's problems? Now, for life's problems, I'll start with life's problems. These are situations in our lives that has a solution. That means we can change the way we do things. Say, for example, um, you're not growing. So that's a problem. You can change that by embarking on a journey of personal growth, by applying the laws of personal growth that we are learning every week and applying it in your life. So the solution will be on the application of the right solutions to your problems. But life's facts are different. These are things that, these are, you may not be able to change this. Say, for example, um, your height. Okay, that's just an example. If your height is, say, you're shorter than an ideal or a based on standards, you cannot change that. But you can do something about it. You can probably wear shoes that have, have higher sole or something. So you can probably enhance or do something about it, but you cannot change it anymore. So what we're saying here is whether you are a success or failure in life, it has little to do with your circumstances, but it has much to do with your choices. Okay, so if you have life's problem, you have we call life's problems. It's all about your attitude. What do you do to address, to provide solutions for the life's problems? But for the facts, you may not be able to change it, but you can do something to probably lessen the impact, or you can um, do something to mitigate whatever risk that you may have because of those facts. So it all depends on our choices, right? So that's why we mentioned a while ago that several weeks ago that our choices are significant in addressing our life's problems and the issues that we face every day because um, they really matter. Now, we're talking about a growth environment, right? So, may I ask you this question this evening? What or who brings out the best in you? Now, John Maxwell would call this his nourishment centers. Have you thought about this? What brings out the best in me? Or who brings out greatness in me? Because when you don't know what or who would bring out the best or who would bring out greatness in you, then you don't know where your inspiration comes from. So these are the list of areas that may nurture you. Now, I'll show you some areas where probably you have to ask myself, um, what, um, say for example, the first one. Okay, I'll go back. The first one is music. Okay, what music or what type of music or song would lift you up? Now, many people would probably have like Christian music or gospel music or instrumental or no. Do you know what kind of music would lift you up? Would that means would make you focus on something? If you're kind of thinking, if you're down, if you're sad, what kind of music lifts you up? Do you know? Okay, so these are what we call our nourishment centers. So if you have, say, for example, this is the kind of music that would lift me up. These are the songs that lift me up. Then it would be a good idea to have it in your, say, for example, on your cell phone or in your gadget, so that when you need it, it's available. Okay. So again, what or who brings out the best in you? What about thoughts? Okay, what ideas move me? What ideas are what are those ideas that when I think about them, they just challenge my mind and I'm inspired and I can my imagination is broadened and I can have much better ideas because of these thoughts. Do you know? In your case, what thoughts or what ideas move you? Another thing is experiences. What experiences give you energy? What experiences give me energy? I think there are experiences that kind of excites us, okay, or that they excite us, they inspire us, they motivate us. So for some people it's just probably meditating or walking or jogging or whatever experience that is. Okay, you have to know what nourishes you, what experiences would give you energy. All right, another thing, friends. Okay, so we're talking about what or who bring out or brings out the best in you. Who are the people who when I'm with them, they just bring out the best in me. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to, you know, be someone I'm not. But when I'm with them, I'm just encouraged. I'm just um, motivated. I'm just lifted up. I'm strengthened. That whenever I spend time with them, uh, I just feel inspired. Do you know who those people are? I mean, we have to identify what are our nourishment centers. What gives us nourishment? Because it's very important. Let me repeat, it's very important that you nourish yourself. Okay. I remember when I was still pastoring in Iloilo, I had a lot of um, speaking assignments or speaking engagement. So Monday, Tuesday, I would teach Bible school, and then Wednesday prayer meeting, Thursday Bible study, and then Bible studies again, and then Sunday you have Sunday school and preaching. So I have to know what inspires me, what motivates me, what where can I nourish myself. It's very important. No, I'm not saying that it's only important to pastors because they also need nourishment and feeding and input, but every one of us, okay? And who are those people that when you're with them, you just feel alive and you just feel strengthened. What about recreation? What activities give you energy? Okay, for some people, maybe it's sports, playing basketball, playing their favorite sport activity. For some, it's just walking, not like me. I just walk around and I feel recharged. I feel relieved. So I know walking is kind of works for me. Okay, it gives me energy. It gives me time to think. It gives me time to meditate. Okay, so I know that after a walk, I feel better. Okay, I feel inspired. I feel recharged. Okay, another thing is for our soul, what spiritual exercises strengthen me? For some, it would be meditating, it would be praying, it would be attending worship service, it would be attending small group meetings or Bible studies or sharing time. So, what spiritual exercises would strengthen you and would nourish you? Okay. So again, these are things that bring out the best in us, that bring out greatness in us, not the worst in us, not the badness in us. Okay. So do you know? I remember, again, based on my experience when I was still in Iloilo, I would go to this library, um, and then I could spend half day in that library looking at books and just staying there and just being nourished. And after I went out of that library, I feel inspired. Okay, so that's what I used to do because I have to learn, I have to nourish myself. So that library became a nourishment center for me. Now, another areas, hopes. What dreams inspire me? Okay. So what are those dreams that you when you think about them, when you remember them, it just inspires you. Okay. At home, okay, what family members care for me or yeah, it can bring out the best in you. So these are family members that really care, and that when you spend time with them, you feel safe, you feel recharged, and you feel alive and strengthened. Giftedness. Okay, we go to the area of giftedness. What blessings activate me? That when I do this, when I exercise my gifts, what I'm good at, then not only do I love doing it, but it inspires me to do more. Okay, say for example, you're good in cooking, okay, and then that's what you do to be a blessing to others. So not only that you enjoy it, not only that you get nourished in doing it, but you also do it as a ministry. Okay, so that's your giftedness. What about memories? What memories make you smile and make you feel good? And normally we file that, we document that, we have pictures of that because those are the memories that make us happy and make us smile. What about books? This is very important. What books have you read that has so much impact, have so much impact in your life that it transformed you, it changed you, and whenever you read the book again, it just continues to inspire you. So again, these are what we call the nourishment centers. This is where you get your nourishment because again, brothers and sisters in the Lord, you need to nourish yourself. So, do you know where you get these nourishments from? Do you know what brings out the best in you? Do you know who brings out the greatness in you? It's very important to know this so that you can continuously nourish yourself and you know what are those things that would bring out the best in you. Now let's go to change yourself in and your environment. So not only that we need to change our environment, okay, it's not just our environment that we need to change. If our environment is not conducive for growth, it's not supportive of growth, of our growth, it's not just our environment that we need to change. We also have to look within. We also have to look at ourselves because if even if your environment is not conducive, but your own will, your own self wants to grow, I think you can still grow. But this is the the challenge. And this is what I think this is in your workbook. So if you change yourself, but not your environment, growth will be slow and difficult. When you change your environment, but not yourself, growth will be slow and less difficult. But when you change your environment and yourself, growth will be faster and more successful. Now, let me give you an example of this. Um, Let me go back to the previous um, slide, we talked about nourishment centers. So let me ask you this. Who inspires you? Okay. Where does your inspiration come from? Now, um, if your inspiration just comes from outside, that means other people, other things, other circumstances, even if you are in the right environment, then um, growth will still be slow because you don't get enough inspiration. But what if, this is the scenario, what if you change yourself? Okay. You have a conducive environment for growth, and then you change yourself. You say, okay, self, I'm going to encourage you. The first person who will encourage you, who will inspire you, who will motivate you is you or me. Okay. What if that happens to you? What if every morning we wake up, we don't need inspiration from others. We just wake up and inspire ourselves. This is a new day. This is a gift from the God. That's why it's called present. And now it's time to inspire myself. It's time to motivate myself because I want to grow and be used by the Lord today. So that's an example of changing your attitude and changing yourself. And when you couple that, when you mix that with the right environment, that's where growth becomes faster and more successful. Okay. So that's what we are saying here. It's not just your environment, it's first of all me. Do I really need to grow? Do I really do I really want to grow? And do I inspire myself to grow, not just getting inspiration from others? Okay. Now, this is very interesting. John Maxwell in 1976, I think, wrote what he called his growth environment. Okay. He calls this my growth environment. And whenever he shares this, one of the interesting things that he shares is the list that he has come up with when he was way younger than he is now. He hasn't changed a word. That means when he was younger, he already figured out what kind of environment would really make him grow. Okay. So this is what he calls his growth environment. And we will discuss it, and we will later on ask ourselves, what is my idea of my growth environment? So normally it's like my growth environment is a place where, okay, so you have to fill in the blanks, okay? So this is John Maxwell's um his growth environment, and we can learn a lot from this, and maybe we can adopt some of the things that he has written here, and maybe come up with our own if you want, okay? But this is his what he calls his growth environment. Now, why is this important? Now, we've seen this author, this leadership guru, he sold 27 million books and still growing. He wrote 100 plus books. And his passion is really personal growth, leadership, and equipping others. Okay. So how did he reach that success, that level of success in his life? And much of that success has to do with his growth environment. Okay. So his idea of his growth environment is this. First, it's a place where others are ahead of me. Okay. others are ahead of me. Now, this is interesting because many people would want to be in a place where they are ahead of everybody else, right? We want to be the first. We want to be the greatest. We want to be the highest. We want to be the fastest. We want to be the smartest. We want to be the yeah. We want to be the first. But look at this statement. If you're always at the head of the class, then you're in the wrong class. Because when you've reached that point that you are the fastest, the smartest, the greatest, it gives you a sense of satisfaction that will eventually give you that feeling of, you know, I can slow down, I I can take it easy because I'm ahead of others. So his growth environment, Maxwell's growth environment, says that it's an environment where others are ahead of me. Now, this is so much different. Okay, I'm thinking about this, and many parents got it wrong. Okay, many parents would really want their children to be the first in class. Okay, to be the smartest, the greatest, the fastest, whatever. But you know, if you're always at the head of the class, then you're in the wrong class because there's no more challenge. Okay, you're not challenged anymore. Um, think about your environment now. Okay, do you feel that that challenge to grow? You see, when you are in an environment where others are ahead of you you get inspired, right? You get inspired. I want to also be faster than what I am now. Um, Probably a good example is if you're if, I don't know what sport you play or what games you play. But when you play with say for example basketball, what if you play with lousy players? What does that make? Um, I I mean, what does that result to? That does that challenge you to play your best and push yourself? For example, in a game where uh, players are lousy and they're not very good in doing it in playing the basketball. But what if you are in a game where players are way better than you? So you are inspired. You push yourself. Okay, you do your best to play your best. So that's what John Maxwell um, means here, that he has to be in an environment where others are ahead of him. He's not first. He's not the smartest, the fastest, the greatest, but others are ahead of him so that it will push him to also grow and and be better, okay, to become better than he is at the moment. So the best place to learn is always where others are ahead of you. So again, this is about attitude. It's about changing our attitude because for some people, oh no, others are ahead of me. I'm not gonna make it. So they treat it as a discouragement, and they treat it as, okay, I'm not gonna improve anymore. Might as well get out of this place because I'm not gonna measure up. I'm not gonna be like them. That's not the right attitude. When you are in a place where others are ahead of you, it should motivate you and inspire you to also grow and be like those who are smartest, greatest, fastest, whatever. Okay. So think about your environment now. Are you the first? Are you the greatest, or are you the head of the class? Because if that's the case, you may be in an environment where you do not grow anymore. You have become complacent. You have become, you know, okay, satisfied with whatever you have accomplished. Okay. But when others are ahead of you, you will be inspired. Okay. So I think this is very important. Another um, thing that Maxwell wrote about his growth environment is that his growth environment is a place where he is continually challenged. Okay. There is challenge. Okay. So that means he cannot rest on his laurels, he cannot be complacent, he cannot just take it easy, but he is continually challenged. Now let me ask you this. Are you in a place, are you in an environment where you are continually challenged, or you are in an environment where you do not grow to your fullest potential because you're already the best in that area, or you are already looked up as the head of the class or the leader in that area? So challenges are very important. We need to be challenged because we want to grow. No matter what age we are in, no matter what the status of life, we if we are continually challenged and we have the right attitude, then it results to growth. Okay, we become better than who we are yesterday, last week, last year, because challenges make us grow um, in our personal life. So growth requires stepping into the unknown, taking the risk, trying something new, and embracing the challenge. Okay? Embracing the challenge. Again, this is a matter of attitude. We have to change ourselves to embrace the challenge. Um, Sometimes we say, okay, that's not my forte. That's not where I'm good at. Okay. But sometimes I'm speaking about my experience. You just have to dive into it. Okay, even if you're not, you don't feel that you're good at it, but you know just go for it, and you can learn from the experience, and that you will grow. So you are continually challenged. That's what we call having a growth mindset. Okay, the growth mindset is saying challenges help me to grow. I welcome the challenges because it helps me grow. Another thing about growth environment is um, for John Maxwell, his growth environment is a place where his focus is forward. Okay, his focus is forward, not backward. Okay, not I used to be good at this before, but now I'm not anymore. But yes, the focus is forward. So that means there are more mountains to reach, there are more heights to climb, there are more victories to achieve. Okay, forward. Yes, we learned from our past. If you recall our topic on the value or the law of reflection, we we reflect. Okay, we turn our experiences into insights, and then insights can be turned into wisdom that we can pass on to others. Okay, but we don't dwell in the past. We move forward. Okay, we don't say, okay, we were successful in this area, and then we just have to stop and not move forward anymore. But it's a place where the focus is forward, winning after winning, success after success, growth after growth, victory after victory. Okay, that's his growth environment. Okay, he's not saying that he's not benefiting from the past, but this is similar to what the apostle Paul said in Philippians chapter 3 verse 13, where he said, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. Okay, we have the tendency to be looking backwards. Okay, looking at the past, reliving the memory, but failing to move forward, using the learnings and the challenges of yesterday to be much better prepared for tomorrow. Okay, reaching forth. Okay, that's our goal. My focus should be forward. Another important factor that Maxwell said about his growth environment is his growth environment is a place where the atmosphere is affirming. That means it's supportive of growth. Maybe this is opposite to what we call the crab mentality. Have you heard about the crab mentality? No, crabs would pull each other down. Okay, those who are climbing up, those who are going up, would eventually fall down because they pull each other down. Is that the kind of environment that you're in? I mean, the atmosphere is not supportive of growth. It's not affirming. Okay. It's actually, let's all stay where we are. Okay. Um, we're all gonna die. We'll just prolong death. We will just, stay where we are, and nobody nobody grows or becomes better. So that's not a growth environment. The growth environment is the atmosphere is affirming or supportive. That means you can disagree without, without taking it personally. So an environment that is not safe to disagree is not an environment focused on growth. It's an environment focused on control. Okay. So one of the examples of an affirming atmosphere is you're not you're not prevented from sharing your ideas, sharing your thoughts, proposing, recommending changes, okay, without fear of being you know you will be singled out, they will get back at you, or things like that. So the atmosphere is affirming. Another important point, my growth environment is a place where I am often out of my comfort zone. Okay. So if you see in the picture, the small circle is our comfort zone. Growth doesn't happen there. It happens somewhere. Okay. It growth happens outside of our comfort zones. Our comfort zone is beautiful, but nothing grows there. Okay. So if we are just comfortable all the time, and the idea, okay, I don't want to change the way I do things because I'm comfortable doing this, it's not a growth environment. Another thing, growth environment is a place where I wake up excited. Okay. I'm excited. Okay, it's another day. I'm gonna learn something from the people I am with. Okay. Um, I'm excited what I will learn today. So you wake up excited. When your purpose is clear, you wake up excited, you spend the day focused, and you go to bed happy and satisfied. Okay. So that's his growth environment. Another thing, and this is very, very important. Okay. My growth environment is a place where failure is not my enemy. No, if you're in a place where, when you fail, people will laugh at you, people will mock you, people will judge you, people will, you know, then you are not in a growth environment, because failure is actually our friend. Okay, we will have a separate law for this about failure. This is very, very important. That's why there's a separate session for this. But when you fail, you can either fail backward or you can fail forward, right? Failing is a part of life. And when you fail forward, that means you use the things that you've learned from that failure and use it as a tool to as learning, so that you can succeed subsequently. Then failure is actually your friend because you learn from your failures. I'd like to show you this picture. Okay, the two pictures, it says not missing the bullseye is not the failure. It's not trying all. That's failure. Okay. It's not about if you failed to do something. You tried but you failed. That's not failure. The real failure is when you did not try. Okay, and you live with the what if I did it, what if I tried it, and so on. Okay, so failure is not my enemy. It should be an environment where it's affirming, it's supportive. When you fail, you are encouraged. When you fail, that's okay, we all fail. When you fail, we can do it better next time. That's the kind of environment where we want to be in, because that's the growth environment. Another thing, others are growing. It's very, very difficult to grow in an environment where only you are growing. Okay. The rest are not growing, because eventually you might also get that attitude. But when you are, again, this is similar to others are ahead of me. When everybody else is growing, when others are growing, you most likely will grow. So be in a place, be in an environment where growth is common to everybody. Okay. We all grow together. Okay. That's the battle cry. We grow together. Okay. Um, let's not just stay um, um, as we are now, but let's become better. Let's become, let's grow for the glory of God. Okay. Another thing is my growth environment is a place where people desire change. People desire change. People do not resist change. It's a matter between close-mindedness or fixed-minded and having a growth mindset. Now, I'm not saying that we have to change everything, okay? But there are things that obviously need to be changed, but people are not very welcoming of change, even if it means um, better outcome and more efficient and more effective way of doing things. So people desire change. Okay, that's a growth environment for Maxwell. Another thing, growth is modeled and expected. That means your leaders are growing. Okay, your leaders do not just stay complacent. Your leaders do not stay status quo. Okay, just maintain, sustain, but they they model growth because they themselves grow and they expect others to grow with them. Now, question, is that the kind of environment where you are now? Is that, are you in a growth environment? Because remember, as a leader, we are a person of value who values others and adds value to others. That's who we are. So we should continue to grow. Now, here's the hot poker principle. Okay, so I hope you remember those growth environment, because later on we will discuss. Okay, if you have anything to add in your own life, what kind of growth environment, what is your idea of growth environment? The hot poker principle is very simple. It just says we are like the metal in a poker. If our environment is cold, we're cold. If it's hot, we're hot. Okay. If we want to grow, listen to this. This is very important. Do you want to grow? You have to spend time with great people. You really have to spend time with great people. You have to visit great places. You have to attend great events, read great books, and listen to great messages. Okay? That's non negotiable. I remember in my younger years, um, I think God has placed me in a growth environment because we are exposed to people who have vision, people who continue to grow. We were able to attend great events, okay, where your perspective widens, and you learn a lot. You listen to, attending conferences is very important for leaders. That's why when your pastors, when your leaders are attending conferences, it's not a waste of time. Okay, they learn a lot because they have to be with great people, attend great events, listen to great messages, or if you can visit great places where you learn, because that's where you grow. Okay, and you read great books. As you consider your environment, ask these critical questions. Who nourishes me? Okay. So that's where this is your growth. The second one is what keeps me alive. Okay. This is your purpose. And the third one is what sustains me. This is the people. Okay. This is very important. I think this is in your workbook. Warren Buffett says, surround yourself with people who push you to do and be better. No drama or negativity, just higher goals and higher motivation, good times and positive energy, no jealousy or hate, simply bringing out the absolute best in each other. This is the kind of environment where we want to be in, where we want to find ourselves in, because in this type of environment, we not only grow, but others grow with us, and we also help each other to grow. Now, change the people you spend time with. Okay? Proverbs chapter 13, verse number 20 says, he that walketh with wise men shall be wise, but a companion of fools shall be destroyed. So even in the Bible emphasized that it is important to associate yourself with the right people. If you want to be wise, walk with the wise. Spend time with the wise. If you want to become a fool and be destroyed, then be a companion of fools. So even the Bible teaches this. Now, it's been said that you are the average of the five people you spend the most time with. I think this is a study that you are, as a person, is the average of the five people you spend the most time with. Why? Because when you spend time with people, you begin to become what they are. You start to eat what they eat, talk like they talk, read what they read, think like they think, watch what they watch, and dress like they dress. You become like them. Okay. So better be careful with who you spend your time with. Okay. Because you eventually will become like them. That means if you want to be great, if you want to grow, then be with people who are great and be with people who also grow. And this is the 33% rule. Okay, if you want to study this more, it's very encouraging. But that if you divide the people in your life, okay, the 33%, it's doing what's right and doing it with energy and enthusiasm, while the 33% is the opposite. You should not spend time with them, and the 33% are in the middle. So you better spend time with the one third, okay, who are doing what is right and they do it every day with energy and enthusiasm. So spend time with people with integrity, who are positive, who are ahead of us professionally, who lift us up instead of knocking us down, who take the high road, never the low. Those people who do what is right. Okay? They do not compromise, and people who are growing. So next, challenge yourself in your new environment. Okay, make your goals public and set a deadline for your goals. This is what we call the power of shared commitment. Imagine yourself that you are in an environment where growth is expected, and growth is supported, and growth is encourage. So you can make your goals public and you can set a deadline for your goals, because a goal is a dream with a deadline. So that's what a goal is. All right. So this slide is really more on getting the most out of great people that you want to spend time with. So if you have a mentor, so these are the questions that you may want to ask. What is their strength? What are they learning now? What do I need right now? Who have they met? What have they read or what have they done that has helped them? And what have I not asked that I should have asked? Anyway, it's in your workbook. And then focus on the moment. Now, if you are going to be asked this question tonight, okay, complete the sentence. The happiest moment in my life is, okay, what's your answer? The happiest moment in my life is, but when you focus on the moment, you know what your answer will be. The happiest moment in my life is today. Okay. Oh, you may think, no, the happiest moment of my life is when my child was born, is when I got married, or is when, all of those things. But for people who focus on the moment, well, that's the happiest moment of my life back then. Okay. When my son was born, that's the happiest moment of my life back then. When I got married, that's the happiest moment of my life. But now, today is also the happiest moment of my life because I focus on the moment, not on yesterday. Okay. Today is the start of the rest of your days. Okay. The rest of your life. Today is when everything that's going to happen from now on begins. So today is important. What does that mean? Today is important. You can grow, you can change your environment, you can change yourself, you can assess whether you are in a growth environment because today matters. Today can be the beginning of the rest of your exciting life, a life that continuously grows, and a life that continuously blesses others. All right? So the last one is move forward despite criticism. Now, when you decide to grow or when you decide to change your environment, people will criticize you. Okay? Because that's what people normally do. They love to criticize. Okay, so for example, you know that you're not in a growth environment. So you decide to change your environment, people will have something to say. Okay, there are always difficulties arising that tempt you to believe your critics are right. To map out a course of action and follow it to an end requires some of the same courage that a soldier needs. Peace has its victories, but it takes brave men and women to win them. Look at this story. I think I've heard this story before from a pastor. It's about the man, the wife, the donkey, and the critic. Okay, look at the. I know it's kind of small, right? But in the picture number one, um, the couple was walking with their donkey, and people would say, "Clueless couple. They don't even know how to ride a donkey." Ha 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 ha. Okay, I mean, there's a donkey. Why don't they use it? Why don't they ride on it? And then so the couple decided, okay, because of those critics, we'll just ride the donkey. Okay, both of us will ride the donkey. And then here comes another group of big people after seeing the couple, both of them riding on the donkey, again making a comment. What a wicked couple. They have no mercy to the animal. Okay, both of them are riding in the donkey. Okay, so what the couple did, um, the man decided to go down and let his wife ride the donkey. And then the critic, another group of people saw it and they say, "Stupid man! He should have ridden because he is the boss of the woman. Okay, he should be the one riding the donkey, not the wife." So they exchanged places. They listened to the critic. They exchanged places. The woman was walking and the man was riding the donkey. There's another group of people who say, "What a selfish man. He should be kind to his wife. Why is he riding the donkey and not his wife?" Eventually, the two of them carried the donkey. But still, the critics did not stop. Ha 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 ha. What a stupid looking couple carrying a donkey. Moral of the story? You cannot please everybody. No matter what you do, there will always be people who will talk about you, who will criticize you. So just do what you believe is right and don't be distracted by criticisms. That's the moral of the story. In the context of personal growth and the law of the environment, if there's a need to change the environment, if there's people who are not bringing out the best in you, it may get their criticism, but you just have to do it anyway if you really want to grow. So we're now ending the session. In your workbook, you have this. Assess your current environment when it comes to growth, answering true or false to these statements. Okay, you can go over this. Um, if you answer false, may be lowering or hindering your growth. What are you going to do about it? Okay, so assess your environment. Um, I'll give you a couple of seconds, a couple of minutes to go over this list. Okay, again, this is the list of Maxwell, his growth environment, where his growth environment is a place where others are ahead of him. He's continually challenged. His focus is always forward. The atmosphere is affirming. He's often out of his comfort zone. He wakes up excited that failure is not his enemy. Others are growing. People desire change, and growth is modeled and expected. Okay. Can you answer um, how many false? Okay. So how many true? And then lastly, I'm gonna leave you with this, that this is our group discussion questions. Okay. Do you know what your nourishment centers are? Okay. Do you know what or who brings out the best or the greatness in you? Okay. Remember the music, the people, the memory, the activity, the that we talked about. Do you know? And then complete the statement. My growth environment is a place where, okay. You may also want to copy the the um, uh, growth environment of Maxwell. And based on your answers, the true or false, would you say that you are in a growth environment? Why or why not? All right, Myral, back to you.